But perhaps, there's actually two other things, but perhaps the biggest two things are conservatives flip-flop on the Islamic faith. This has to be one of the biggest double standards in the kind of, I don't know, like maybe, I don't want to say like alt-right, you know, I don't know, just the dishonesty. For the longest time, post 9/11, we were told that, you know, Islam is a violent religion, and that, you know, we need to oppose mass immigration of Muslims to the West because the Islamic faith is a violent religion, and that's real Islam, you know. And they post memes of how, like, whenever an Islamic jihadist, you know, blows himself up or commits terrorism or violence, whatever, it's just like, we may never know the reason why the person shouting Allah Akbar killed, you know, shut up like a synagogue or something, you know. We may never know, and the joke being is that we know that it's an Islamic terror attack and blah blah. And we've kind of been, you know, demanded to call the Islamic faith out. It's right. It's like, well, why is it? You know, it's like, well, if you look at why is it liberals will never criticize the genocide of Christians in the Middle East? Why is it, liberals will never, it's like, the reason why liberals don't call it the Islamic faith, but they call it Christianity, is because Christianity is the white religion, Islam is the, brown religion, and, this is, brown privilege, or, whatever, this is wokeism, this is blah blah. It's like, where are the women's marches in Saudi Arabia, it's like, we'll always kind of call this stuff out, and then it's like, it went from that to, like, based Islam, based Uganda, based China, and then it went to, like, it goes from, like, why aren't the left protesting in Saudi Arabia, to, like, here's a couple, like, if you look at Qatar, so the World Cup was recently held in Qatar, it was a great event, I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but I thought it was terrific, and in terms of, like, the actual play and that kind of thing, I'm not necessarily talking about the host country and whatever, but anyways, I digress. And so liberals actually did, like, kind of somewhat protest a little bit, and there was like, the gay rights issue kind of became a really big issue, that kind of thing, and so now you'll see, like, it went from, like, conservatives being like, why won't conservatives criticize why won't liberals criticize Islam, to you're trying to oppose the neoliberal gay order on the Middle East. Every country has the right to sovereignty. Qatar, they were siding with Qatar. Sargon was siding with Qatar. These people went from, like, criticize Islam to now you can't criticize Islam. Like, basically, if you don't orchestrate women's protests in any of these Muslim majority Islamic theocracy countries, you're kind of an anti-white, double standard, blah blah blah, an Islam apologist, blah blah. To, if you do demand women's protests and gay protests and pride parades in Saudi Arabia, you're a neoliberal globalist, woke imperialist, pushing gay values and gays on all these other countries, and you don't respect people's sovereignty. And actually, you're an Islamophobe. You hate Africans. It's the Democrats are the real racists. And again, it's like this is complete BS. And again, and it's just, like, I mean, these people went from, like, arguing to, like, some of these people went from, like, arguing that we need, like, a surveillance state and we need, racial profiling, to the idea that maybe us Christians should align with Muslims and we have a lot in common. And anytime you ever see any, like, Muslim in the West protest against, like, I'm talking about peaceful protest, just, gay rights or like the LGBT agenda on, like, in schools. As an example, which I think recently there was in Michigan, I'm guessing Dearborn, Michigan. I don't know, someone maybe I'm just guessing, I don't know, Michigan basically. And you'll see this, right? It's just like, well, maybe, and it's funny because there's like a debate between like paleo-conservative, like the race philosophy. No, we should never have. We should no, no Muslims, no that kind of thing, and they'll criticize some of these, conservatives for like, well, maybe we should, immigration of Muslims can be a good thing because they share some of the same values. Or they'll do this with like Hispanics. You'll see this with Hispanics, and this is that kind of, it's just like weird. And it's the thing too is like what's even weirder is like another thing is like some of these people push like kind of doggle something like the racialism and the race and culture crowd and the race and IQ. And they push that crap. So, like, on one hand, the third world, the Middle East and Africa and that kind of thing, are these countries that have IQs, very low on average IQs, 75, that kind of thing. And lower IQs leads towards lower levels of empathy. And then these people have, the genetics of, like the warrior gene and leads towards violence and that kind of thing, and they're just like these kind of barbarians and savages, and they lack empathy, and they just don't like attack anything that's even remotely it's like they're just like taking out like swords, just like stabbing like dirt, clay or something, and it goes from that to like actually these are the people who hold this is the cultures that there's the best views on LGBT rights, and it's like, well, Turkey has a border, why can't we have a border? Somalia has a border, they based Somalia, it's like, well, look, if your views are the same as, like, I don't know, and, I mean, you can try as hard as you want, you will never have a flop that conservatives have had on the Islamic faith. You will not. You can't. It's actually not humanly possible. It's legitimately not. Don't even think of trying. You can try. I wish you the best luck. You will fail. You will not hold a double standard as worse. It's like conservative positions the last 10 years on the Islamic faith have basically been about arguing 2 points. On one hand, Islam is this violent, oppressive, religion that we need to keep out of the West at all costs, and they're responsible for 9/11, the genocide of Christians, in the Middle East, and, the Crusades were justified because it was a defensive, whatever. And at the same time arguing that, Islam actually has the correct views on gender, and the correct views on, gay rights, and the correct views, and us white Western liberals could actually learn something from the Islamic faith, and you're actually the real, liberals are the real Islamophobes because you're trying to push your gay, woke, and social justice agenda on these, these Muslims. So it's like it's just so, like. Islam was responsible for 9/11. Also, Islam is a based religion that has all the correct ideas on, women's rights and, that kind of thing, and blah blah, and, why won't liberals denounce liberals denounce female genital mutilation? Why won't, which is something conservative should denounce in Denmark as well, by the way, but anyways, it's hypocrisy for you, and it's just like these to also like liberals criticizing pushing gay pride parades. That's Soros. That's neoliberal wokeism, and we gotta stop this. It's the flying pride flags. That's ridiculous. Like, based Uganda, Anyways, and the last thing I'll say is you'll see a lot of conservatives pushing for the idea that America needs a Francisco Franco. America needs Franco. And Franco is the person you can push for when you really want to say Adolf Hitler, but you don't have the balls to say that. That's the name, then will get you canceled. So you're saying the next less scary thing, but something that is very intimidating. Less, hoping that libs don't recognize who Franco is. And it's funny because it's like, well, America needs a Franco. Well, Franco put gay people in camps. Like, he literally put, I think 5,000 people, 5,000 gays were killed or died or something. I don't know. Like, on top of the fact that there's a lot of child abductions, there was a lot of, so it's in progressives like you can change your gender, whereas in Franco's America, you get to change your last name. You get to change your surname. That's your birth name. It's you change your parents, right? You get to it's just like, oh, here's your mom and dad, and then no, here's another, and then there was, of course, the giving Latte Pavlik, a passport, and several other neo-Nazis, and there was the fact that there was the mass rape of women, internment camps, they're giving, Heinrich Himmler a list of Jews, and to be brought to the, to their doom. And, the list goes on, and he's just a really, really repugnant human being, and, the person who founded Falange literally supported terrorism and violence, saying that we should use violence to achieve our political goals. So the little founder of Falange supported that. But anyways, America needs a Franco. And that's basically, like, conservatives, is they're constantly pushing for these insanely draconian figures, insanely authoritarian figures, and they can't really hold up to standards. So anyways, that's me. Bye.